As the universal spirit, a global human, and a citizen of South Africa, I would like to take this moment to reflect on the importance of education and how it relates to human beings, to nature, and to the universe, and how it ties everything else around us. Education, the concept with which most of us in the world are highly obsessed as a result of the influence of the global academic masters and organizers and coordinators of human society. However, fundamentally, education as the concept is derived from a Latin word, educare, which was formed in 1447. Educare means to rear, to bring up, to bring forth, and to bring out. So as somebody who claims to be educated, it is very important for you to be able to tap into your internal wealth in order to bring out into the world the creative power to inspire other human beings and everything else with which you coexist. That's very, very important. It is also important to understand that education is not only limited in the confines of the institutions of higher learning such as university, technikon, colleges, or even high schools. It is very important for us to understand that education is broader and education has no boundaries. It is limitless. Education can be found within yourself primarily, as it can be found in the books that you read in the libraries. Education can be found in poetry, it can be found in dance, it can be found in music. Education can be found in your living elders, it can be found in your ancestors. Education can be found in the setting of your family, it can be found among the children. Education can be found in the ocean, in the rivers. Education can be found in the hills and on the mountains. Education can be found while you are staring at the stars at night. It can be found during the day while you are staring at the sun. It can be found while you are staring at the moon. Education can be found in the desert, in the oceans. It can be found in the animals and singing birds. So there is no limit in education. And it is very, very sad to find people who have obtained all sorts of degrees, jobless, people who are unable to bring forth their creative power in order to create jobs for themselves, let alone creating jobs for others, creating jobs for themselves. Why is it so hard? After they've attended classes for many years and came back holding high qualifications, highly recommended degrees, but instead of finding them creating jobs for themselves, most of them are found wanting standing by the roadsides, by the robots, on the T-junctions and four stops, holding placards where they show through the placards the qualifications they have obtained at the institutions of higher learning. Jobless, helpless, looking for jobs, showing everybody that they are jobless. And probably the people who are passing by driving nice cars are the people who have never set their foot on the doors of the institutions of higher learning. That is very, very disappointing. A person who graduates at UCT, University of Pretoria, UKZN, at all these universities, are found wanting, jobless. If you went to school and came back, but you can't create a job for yourself after having obtained a degree at the from the institution of higher learning, but you can't do nothing for yourself, then you are not educated. Then you're not educated. If you can't sustain yourself, you can't sustain your livelihood, then you're not educated. Because education, remember, is a concept that was derived from a Latin word, educare, in 1447. And educare means to rear, to bring up, to bring forth, and to bring out. That means if you are educated, then you should be able to bring something out, to bring your creative power out, to create for yourself, to be able to sustain yourself. But instead we see people who have never been to the institutions of higher learning sustaining their lives independently. They are not depending on the system that encourages people to rely on being employed by others. You can't rely on the system that encourages you to be employed by others. People claim to be educated, but they have no creative power. They have no sense of mental creativity to do something to sustain their lives and to support their families. They embarrass themselves by standing by the robots, holding placards that show qualifications, but they can't do anything for themselves. You can't claim to be educated, but yet you can't do anything for yourself to maintain, to sustain your livelihood. That is not education. That is miseducation. You are not educated if you can't make a living as a result of your own creativity. You must be able to create if you are educated. But I understand why people are not able to create, because the education that they receive at the institutions of higher learning does not inspire self-reliance, does not inspire self-creativity. It does not inspire that. It inspires students to come out, and after they came out into the world, to have a desire to work for this company or that company, this employer or that employer, instead of looking into themselves in order to see, to identify inspiration and creativity that they can bring out into the world in order to sustain their livelihood. So if you can't do for self, you can't do anything to sustain your livelihood, then you are not educated.